Now, this is a very informative session, and we are going to be informed on the land purchase process. How do we go about it? What do you do? What red flags do you check? Yeah, and for example, how does Fanaka go about their land purchase and even selling of the land? Now, today I'm seated with an advocate of the High Court, and he acts on behalf of Fanaka, and he's going to introduce himself and give us more insight into the land purchase process. The elephant in the room. How do you avoid being conned?
Thank you, Geoffrey. My name is Gashanja Mwangi, and I act for Fanaka Real Estate in all their transactions involving purchasing of land and selling land. Now, of course, discussions have been going on in the internet of how to purchase land safely, especially if you're a purchaser, without being conned. So I think it's the responsibility of a purchaser to make sure that they are purchasing property from verifiable people and properties that have title deeds. I'm going to start on maybe enlightening you on the procedure that you're supposed to follow when you're purchasing land. So the first thing you should do is to go to site.
Yes, a physical.
Yeah, physical site visit. Yes. When you go there, of course, there are things that you should consider doing. Number one, when you go to site, you have to be shown the property. You make sure that those people take you to site and they show you that this is what we are selling. After you see that property, it is important for you to also consider maybe purchasing a map from the survey's office, because that map will actually show you that the property exists. Yes. So after you verify that indeed that is the property you're dealing with, now you come to the other question of who are those people that are selling this property to us? Am I dealing with the right people? So once you now identify or verify that you're dealing with the right people, now you can proceed and ask for now a copy of the title, so that you number one, you can even ask to see the original title. Yes. So you're shown the original title, and in the process you ask for a copy of that title. Yes. Which you use.
Of course, you can't get the original.
You can't get the original title. Yes. Because you haven't paid everything.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll get there. So what you can get is a copy of the title. You request for it, you go to the land's office, you pay something minimal. Nowadays, of course, the fees was reintroduced for doing the search. Initially it used to be free, but now there's some payment you make, very minimal. I think it has to be 1,000 bob or so. So you make that payment and then you wait for the results. Now that is in the land's office. Yes. Then after the search is out, the search should show you, number one, that it is like what I want to explain is that the search is a reflection of what is in the title deed. Yes. So maybe the one thing that I'm supposed to clarify here is what should a search consist of, or what is written in the search. Yes. And now the first thing that you should see in the search is the parcel number. It should correspond with what is in the title. Then secondly, the name of the person who is selling, the size of the property, and then we also have information on whether the property has an encumbrance, or is it burdened by anything. Say, does it have a loan, or does it have things like an easement registered on it? An easement is a right of way. Or does it have a restriction? If it has a restriction, of course the search will not come out. Or does it have a caution? All those things, because you'll find even people selling you land. Yes, they have the original title, but it was cancelled long ago by the court, but they are coming to present it. But once you do a search, of course you're going to save yourself from putting or paying for something that is not there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Wakili. So I've gone to the shamba itself. I've seen it and I've liked it. I've done a search. They have a title deed. Yeah. So what are the red flags, for example, that I should look out for? For example, after I've done a search and say a search has not come out in the name that was there, what does that mean?
It automatically means that you cancel the transaction.
Yes.
Because if there's something amiss, then there's no need of going on with the transaction.
Okay.
So you look at those two things. There are instances where you can buy a map. You might not see if the plots were subdivided. At times the surveyors, there's a process. Maybe after a parcel of land is subdivided today, you might find out that maybe the map was not updated. So what you should look for in that instance is whether the number of the mother title is on the survey map.
Okay.
Yeah, because updating, most of the times surveyors update after.
Yes.
But you should ensure that of course the land is there.
Yes.
So once you see that the land is there, it is on the map, then you go and ask yourself, now does the same way I said, does the information on the title deed correspond on what is on the search?
Yes, sir.
So if it does, you move on. If ukiona kuna maybe the name, you might find that the name is totally different.
Yes.
You are not supposed to go on with the transaction.
Okay.
Then if you see that it is burdened, it has restrictions, it has a caution, you leave it. If it has a charge, of course, maybe there are places where a person, you'll do a search and find that there's a loan in a bank. Of course that process is supposed to be taken over by the title, by the owner of the property, because he has to make sure that he pays that loan and the title is discharged.
Okay.
So that another entry is written on the back of the page to show that the title has been discharged.
Okay.
If there's a restriction, don't buy. If there's a caution, don't buy, because you'll be getting yourself into cases that will never come to an end.
Yes.
Or they will, even after the cases are heard, maybe the title will be revoked.
Yes.
And you see, you'll lose your money in the process.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are some of the red flags that you look at, especially at the initial stages, even before entering into an agreement.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are some of the things that you might need to look.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, let's go to Fanaka Real Estate.
Yes.
Now that I want to purchase with Fanaka, I've done the search. Actually, how does Fanaka go about the parcels that they sell?
Number one, they do a lot of groundwork even before they commit to purchasing a property.
Yes.
And number one, of course, I had a joke that if you want to buy or to purchase a property, you need 3 people.
Yes.
And the first person is a lawyer,
Yes.
the other person is a surveyor,
Yes.
and the other person is a village drunkard.
Yes.
So before we purchase our properties,
Yes.
our team usually goes to the ground.
Yes.
They try to fish for information to know the history of that parcel,
Yes.
even before we see the title deed.
Yes. Yes.
And then after that, we now request the owners to give us the documentation.
Yes.
Now, because we have to be very clear on the history of that parcel.
Yes.
Once we are sure that the history is okay, and if there is no any other information that contradicts or says otherwise about the history of that parcel, we then move forward to now do the search. We conduct a search. After conducting the search, we also conduct something else we call a green card search,
Yes.
to look at the history again, so that because it will put us at a good place of asking questions. Why was it transferred to this person? Where did it come from? So that we also try to measure what they are telling us versus what is on the paper. So once we are satisfied, that is when we purchase. And after we purchase, we don't sell our properties immediately,
Okay.
because we usually put signposts
Yes.
to now make sure that if of course there's an issue that is not on the search or on the title, at least we can be able to tell, because
Or to
people
hear
will
from-
come
yeah,
and say that, oh, this property maybe belonged to us, we were conned or something. We'll get all that information. So we put signposts, and we also have people on the ground wakutuambia what is happening. We also fence the property for a particular period of time, and if there are no issues, that is now when we fence it after we have now written the agreement. We put the signpost after we have been authorized by the people who are selling to us. So after we do all that thing, we give it a period of time. If there are no issues, we now pay the balance. After that, we call the surveyor. We are given the completion documents, we do the transfer. Now the title comes to our name, and that is now what people refer to as the mother title. After that, we immediately engage a surveyor to come do or undertake the subdivision process, where now he delivers the individual titles, and then after that we start selling.
As you can see, our processes are very thorough, and we use an advocate of the High Court who guides us on matters coming to purchase of the property. So we ensure that any property that we are selling to you, first of all, is under our name. Secondly, we have done a very thorough research on the properties. So thank you very much, advocate, and we look forward to having you more.
Asante sana.
Yes.
Fanaka Real Estate, your ideal real estate partner.